Yours, like later, had an off-the-cuff, here catch quality that reminded me how twisted and secretive my desires were compared to the expansive spontaneity of everything about him. It would never have occurred to him that in placing the apricot in my palm he was giving me his ass to hold, or that in biting the fruit I was also biting into the part of his body that must have been fairer than the rest because it never apricated. And near it, if I dared to bite that far, his apricot. In fact, he knew more about apricots than we did. Their graphics, etymology, origin, fortunes in and around the Mediterranean. At the breakfast table that morning my father explained that the name for the fruit came from the Arabic. Since the word in Italian albicocca, apricot in French, apricots in German, like the words algebra, alchemy, and alcohol, was derived from an Arabic noun combined with the Arabic article al before it. The origin of albicocca was al-birkuk. My father, who couldn't resist not leaving well enough alone and needed to top his entire performance with a little flip of more recent vintage, added that what was truly amazing was that in Israel and in many Arab countries nowadays, the fruit is referred to by a totally different name, mishmish. My mother was nonplussed. We all, including my two cousins who were visiting that week, had an impulse to clap. On the matter of etymologies, however, Oliver begged to differ. "Ha!" was my father's startled response. "The word is actually not an Arabic word," he said. "How so?" My father was clearly mimicking sarcastic irony, which would start with an innocent "you don't say," only then to lead his interlocutor on to turbulent schwall. It's a long story, so bear with me, Pro. Suddenly Oliver had become serious. Many Latin words are derived from the Greek. In the case of apricot, however, it's the other way around. The Greek takes over from Latin. The Latin word was periacum, from peria, queer, pre-cook, to ripen early as a precocious, meaning premature. The Byzantines brought pracox and it became pracocia or brecoki, which is finally how the Arabs must have inherited it as al-birkok. My mother, unable to resist his charm, reached out to him and tousled his hair and said, "To movie star." "He's right, there is no denying it," said my father, under Galileo forced to mutter the truth to himself. "Courtesy of philosophy," said Oliver. All I kept thinking of was apricot, precock, precock, apricot. One day I saw Oliver sharing the same ladder with the gardener, trying to learn all he could about Auntie's graphics, which explained why our apricots were larger, fleshier, juicier than most apricots in a region. He became fascinated with the graphite, especially when he discovered that the gardener could spend hours sharing everything he knew about them with anyone who cared to ask. Oliver, it turned out, knew more about all manner of food, cheeses, and wines than all of us put together. Even Mafalda was wowed and would on occasion defer to his opinion. Do you think I should lightly fry the paste with either onion or sage? Doesn't it taste too lemony now? I ruined it, didn't I? I should have added an extra egg. It's not holding. Should I use the new blender or should I stick to the old mortar and pestle? My mother couldn't resist throwing in a barb or two, like all cowboys, she said. They know everything there is to know about food. Because they can't hold a knife and fork properly. Gourmet aristocrats, which plebeian manners feed him in a kitchen. With pleasure, Mafalda would have replied, and indeed, one day when he arrived very late for lunch after spending the morning with his translator, there was Signor Oliva in the kitchen eating spaghetti and drinking dark red wine with Mafalda. Manfredi, her husband, and our driver, and aunties, all of them tried to teach him a Neapolitan song. It was not only the national hymn of their southern youth, but it was the best they could offer when they wished to entertain royalty. Everyone was won over. Chiara, I could tell, was equally smitten. Her sister as well, even the crowd of tennis bums who for years had come early every afternoon before heading out to the beach for a late swim, would stay much later than usual, hoping to catch a quick game with him. With any of our other summer residents, I would have resented. But seeing everyone take such a liking to him, I found it strange. A small oasis of peace. What could possibly be wrong with liking someone everyone else liked? Everyone had fallen for him, including my first and second cousin, as well as my other relatives who stayed with us on weekends and sometimes longer. For someone known to love spotting defects in everyone else, I derived a certain satisfaction from concealing my feeling for him behind my usual indifference, hostility, or spite for anyone in a position to outshine me at home. Because everyone liked him, I had to say I liked him too. I was like men who openly declare other men irresistibly handsome the better to conceal that they are reaching to embrace them. To withhold universal approval would simply alert others that I had concealed motives for needing to resist him. "Oh, I like him very much," I said during his first 10 days when my father asked me what I thought of him. I had used words intentionally compromising because I know no one would suspect a false bottom in the arcane palette of shading I applied to everything I said about him. "He is the best person I have known in my life," I said on a night when the tiny fishing boat on which he had sailed out with Anchis early that afternoon failed to return and we were scrambling to find his parents' telephone number in the States in case we had to break the terrible news. On that day I even urged myself to let down my inhibition and show my grief the way everyone else was showing theirs. But I also did it so no one might suspect I nursed sorrow of a far more secret and more desperate kind, until I realized, almost to my shame, that part of me didn't mind his dying, that there was even something almost exciting in the thought of his bloated, eyeless body finally showing up on our shores. But I wasn't fooling myself. I was convinced that no one in the world wanted him as physically as I did, nor was anyone willing to go to the distance I was prepared to travel for him. No one had studied every bone in his body, ankles, knees, wrists, fingers, and toes. No one lusted after every ripple of muscle. No one took him to bed every night and on spotting him in the morning lying in his heaven by the pool, smiled at him, watched the smile come to his lips, and thought, "Did you know I came in your mouth last night?" Perhaps even the others nursed an extra something for him, which each concealed and displayed in his or her own way. Unlike the others, though, I was the first to spot him when he came into the garden from the beach or when the flimsy silhouette of his bicycle, blurred in the mid-afternoon mist, would appear out of the alley of pines leading to our house. I was the first to recognize his steps when he arrived late at the movie theater one night and stood there looking for the rest of us, not uttering a sound until I turned around, knowing he'd be overjoyed I'd spotted him. I recognized him by the inflection of his footfalls up the stairway to our balcony or in a landing outside my bedroom door. I know when he stopped outside my French window, as if debating whether to knock and then thinking twice and continue walking. I know it was he, riding a bicycle by the way the bike skied ever so mischievously on the depth gravel path and still kept going when it was obvious there couldn't be any traction left, only to come to a sudden, bold, determined stop with something of a declarative voila in the way he jumped off. I always tried to keep him within my field of vision. I never let him drift away from me except when he wasn't with me. And when he wasn't with me, I didn't much care what he did so long as he remained the exact same person with others as he was with me. Don't let him be someone else when he is away. Don't let him be someone I have never seen before. Don't let him have a life other than the life I know he has with us, with me. Don't let me lose him. I know I had no hold on him, nothing to offer, nothing to lure him by. I was nothing, just a kid. He simply doled out his attention when the occasion suited him, when he came to my assistance to help me understand a fragment by Heraclitus, because I was determined to read his author. The words that sprang to me were not gentleness or generosity, but patience and forbearance, which ranked higher. Moments later, when he asked if I liked the book I was reading, his question was prompted less by curiosity than by an opportunity for casual chit-chat. Everything was casual. He was okay with casual. How come you are not at the beach with the others? Go back to your planking. Later, yours, just making conversation, casual chit chat. Nothing. Oliver was receiving many invitations to other houses. This had become something of a tradition with other summer residents as well. My father always wanted them to feel free to talk their books and expertise around town. He also believed that scholars should learn how to speak to the layman, which was why he always had lawyers, doctors, businessmen over for meals. Everyone in Italy has read Dante, Homer, and Virgil, he'd say. Doesn't matter whom you are talking to, so long as you done it and Homer them first. Virgil is a must, Leopard comes next, and then feel free to dazzle them with everything you have got. Ceylon, celery, salami, who cares? This also had the advantage of allowing all of our summer residents to perfect their Italian. One of the requirements of the residency, having them on a dinner circuit around B, also had another benefit. It relieved us from having them at our table every single night of the week. But Oliver's invitations has become vertiginous. Chiara and her sister wanted him at least twice a week. A cartoonist from Brussels who rented a villa all summer long wanted him for his exclusive Sunday suppers, to which writers and scholars from the environs were always invited. Then the Moreskis from 3 villas down, the Malaspinas from N, and the occasional acquaintance struck up at one of the bars on the Piazzetta, or at the Lee Danzig. All this to say nothing of his poker and bridge playing at night, which flourished by means totally unknown to us. His life, like his peppers, even when it gave every impression of being chaotic, was always meticulously. Sometimes he skipped dinner altogether and would simply tell Mafalda, Esco, I'm going out.